So, you're thinking about jumping into the heavy hauling game? Let me tell you, it's a road that's paved with some pretty big risks, but the rewards can be even bigger. Hire a roadmap for launching a successful dump truck business right here in North America. And we're going to focus in on the very specific challenges and opportunities you'll face in 2026.
All right, first things first, let's zoom out and get the lay of the land. The industry, it's on a rocket ship, set to hit an incredible $55.2 billion by 2034. We're talking a growth rate of over 10% a year. And with North America holding a huge piece of that pie, the long-term potential for a new business is, well, it's undeniable.
But, and this is a big but, here is the reality check for 2026. Even with all that amazing long-term growth, you'd be launching your business right into what the experts are calling a shipper's market. You know, high interest rates, a housing slowdown. It's created one of the softest demand cycles we've seen in over 10 years. And understanding this tension between huge future opportunity and really intense short-term pressure, that is the single most important thing to get your head around.
So how do you actually build a business that can handle that kind of pressure? Well, it all starts with a rock-solid foundation. Let's dig into the absolutely critical moves you have to nail down before you even think about buying a single truck.
Okay, pay close attention here, because this slide reveals a hidden and super expensive trap, especially for my Canadian friends. You see, in the US, an LLC is pretty simple. The profits just pass through to you personally. Easy enough, right? But the Canada Revenue Agency looks at that exact same US LLC and sees a corporation. That creates a massive headache. You end up getting taxed in the US when you make the money, and then you get taxed again in Canada when you pull it out as a dividend. A US C Corp, though, is seen as a corporation by both countries, which means the tax treaties can kick in and save you from that double taxation nightmare.
And if you're what that nightmare can be, this is the price of getting it wrong. Because you're often denied foreign tax credits in that LLC mess, a Canadian owner could be looking at a staggering effective tax rate of up to 75%. It makes it crystal clear that your legal structure isn't just a piece of paper, it's a decision that can literally make or break your entire business from day one.
Okay, so you've got your corp. The next maze you have to navigate is regulation. And let me tell you, the US and Canada have fundamentally different systems. If you have any plans to run cross-border, you have got to be fluent in both.
Down in the United States, everything, and I mean everything, revolves around your USDOT number. Just think of it like your company's permanent record. It's this unique ID that the federal government uses to track everything about you. Safety audits, compliance reviews, accidents, inspections. It is the absolute key to operating legally in the US.
So, when do you actually need one of these? Well, for a dump truck operator, it really comes down to weight. If your truck is rated for 10,001 pounds or more, which, let's be honest, is basically every commercial dump truck out there, and you're doing what they commerce, you need a USDOT number, no question. And interstate commerce is defined really broadly. Even crossing a state line just one time for one job counts.
All right, now let's head north of the border. Canada's approach is built around something called the National Safety Code, or NSC. Now, this isn't some single federal law. It's actually a set of 16 standards that all the provinces and territories have agreed on. The whole point is to create one consistent safety rulebook from coast to coast.
And this just gives you a taste of how deep the NSC goes. It covers the whole shebang, from making sure a driver only has one license, to really strict hours of service rules to fight fatigue, to mandatory maintenance schedules and daily trip inspections. It's a complete system that's focused on the carrier, the driver, and the vehicle.
And just when you think it doesn't stop there. On top of those national standards, you've got provincial rules. In Ontario, for instance, you also need a commercial vehicle operator's registration, or CVOR. It's just another layer of compliance, this time keeping an eye on your safety performance right at the provincial level.
Okay, we've talked legal, we've talked regulation, big one, money. Getting into this business is incredibly capital intensive. It's a true financial gauntlet, but it's a challenge that you absolutely can overcome with the right plan.
So what's the price of admission? Well, for a brand new two-truck fleet launching in 2026, you should probably budget for an initial capital spend of around $313,800. And that's going to cover your main assets, the trucks themselves, plus all the essential tech like GPS and dispatch software.
Ability is not going to happen overnight. Let's just be real here. You're almost certainly going to operate at a loss in your first year. The data shows that the average time to break even is about 34 months. That's almost 3 years of pure grind.
But for those who can survive that initial phase, the scaling potential is enormous. We're talking projected earnings, or EBITDA, getting close to $1 million by year 5. So how do you actually get to that $1 million mark? In your first year, yeah, hourly hauling is great. It gives you predictable cash flow. But to really truly scale, you have to pivot. The real long-term strategy is to shift away from those and move into higher margin work. Think direct material sales. You sell the sand, the gravel, the soil, and locking in those fixed per load contracts.
Okay, you're financed, you're rolling. Now the game shifts. It's all about managing your daily risk. In a high-stakes industry like heavy hauling, insurance isn't just another bill to pay. It is your lifeline.
You're going to need a whole suite of policies. Public liability, that's the one the law requires. It covers damage your truck does to other people or property. It protects the value of what you're hauling. Physical damage covers your own rig from a crash or theft. And then there's the one that so many people forget, environmental liability.
And this is where it gets really interesting. It's all about the legal definition of a pollutant. You might think you're just hauling dirt, but if you happen to spill that dirt on a highway or into a river, federal regulations classify that dirt as a pollutant. And your standard auto policy will almost certainly not cover those massive cleanup costs, which makes specialized an absolute must-have.
Of course, the best insurance is just not having an accident in the first place, right? These safety rules are non-negotiable. Properly balancing your load prevents those deadly tip-overs. Knowing that over 70% of accidents happen in reverse makes backing safety an obsession. That quick 15-minute daily inspection can save you thousands of downtime. And always using 3 points of contact when you're climbing in or out of the cab prevents those simple but really serious falls.
So we've built the business, we've insured it, we've made it safe. Now let's look a little further down the road. What are the big trends that are going to define who wins and who loses for the next generation of hauling companies?
The road ahead is digital, period. Technology is completely changing the game. Real-time freight tracking is becoming the bare minimum. Artificial intelligence is optimizing everything from your routes to your capacity planning. And sustainability? That's not just some buzzword anymore. It's a real competitive advantage, with electric trucks and alternative fuels starting to win the most value.
This quote really shows you how deep the change goes. As Arjun Srinivasan of the WWEX Group points out, AI isn't just about finding a better route anymore. It's about automating the entire business process, from the first quote all the way to the final payment. And that frees up your people to focus on the stuff that actually needs a human brain. So what's the ultimate takeaway from all of this? Starting a dump truck business in 2026 is about so much more and finding loads. To survive, and especially to thrive, you have to think of yourself as a resilient, tech-forward, modern logistics company.
Which leaves us with one last powerful question to think about. As technology gets woven deeper and deeper into every single part of this business, from automated quoting to predictive maintenance, you really have to wonder, is the future of hauling going to be more about data than it is about diesel?